Hi everybody, Creative Katie, Karen Burchill here. Welcome to my channel. Today we have an art journal tutorial for you, and here's a sneak peek. So I am working in my Canson Mixed Media 7x10 art journal, perfect size for beginners, not too big, not too small. And some of the ones that you saw me flipping through, if you want to catch a video of them, if it caught your interest, check out my channel under Art Journal Tutorials and you'll find those. I've taped off the page that keeps the paint and other material out of the coils, and I am using bright aqua and Prussian blue on this background. And I'm adding a little bit of water because I was going to do the plastic wrap technique. And then on my way to the plastic wrap technique, I decided to do a different technique. So I'm just mixing these two colors. I want a kind of black, blue background. The focal image that I've picked is complementary colors to this, and I want them to stand out, which is why I chose these colors. But I don't ever want to have a background that's plain and ordinary. I wasn't going to do a whole lot to it, so I wanted at least to have some different color tones. This is the Retroburst stencil, and I am lifting the acrylic paint out through the stencil with a baby wipe. And that's going to give me the impression of the stencil. Now, when you use this technique, the paint does get on the back side of the stencils, so you have a little bit of a cleanup. Here is a collage paper that I created using these stencils that I just got from Amazon. Now, this is a deal of the century, people. I got 28 stencils, 5x5 stencils for $16 Canadian. I'm going to put a link to those because they are amazing. They're all mandalas. They're great. And you'll see me using them in upcoming videos. So here you see the focal image. I am doing a flamingo, and I cut out the flamingo shape with my Silhouette Cameo out of the collage papers, and I'm going to layer this up. So I have the background. So this bottom part, I'm going to paint parts of it black, and then I'm going to be gluing the other layers on top. So you're going to get the focal image is going to be three-dimensional. In all, I think it ends up having 3 layers. Now I could have just taken the one and painted out the black part. That would have worked too, and it would have been flat. So I'm testing out how I want to arrange my page. I know I wanted to put the peacock, and it is these orange corally colors, which are opposite the color wheel of the teals and blues that are on the background. That means it's going to pop, and that's going to go with the saying that I have for my sentiment. Now I'm edging this with black with a makeup sponge. Now this is cut out of mixed media paper, and actually the collage sheet is cover stock. So it's not quite as thick as the mixed media paper, but it really stands up well. I was testing it out with this page, and I definitely will be purchasing some of that cover stock. I believe you can get it at Staples. And there's my quote: why stand out when you were born, or why blend in when you were born to stand out? And I've printed it off as I usually do in 2 different size fonts just to see which one's going to look better with everything. And I was playing with the idea of having some other flamingos on the page, but then I go back to my original idea. Anybody else have that where you have an idea, you're going to go with it, and then you start getting other ideas while you're creating. Now I wanted to add a little bit of black to the background, and of course here I grabbed my Prussian blue instead of the black. So I am searching for my black, and I'm going to spread it out on my my glass media mat, and stamp in it. This is I believe a Stampendous stamp, and it's one of my favorite stamps. I love the marks that it makes. The stamp was actually twice this size. I've cut it in half just to make it easier to use how I'm using it. Remember, you own your stamps and stencils, so do with them whatever and however you create. So I just wanted a little bit more contrast. Now my background, I don't want the background to be so bright and vivid. So I did a wash of thinned white paint, and you can see that on the right-hand side. I forgot to turn the camera on. So I did a wash, and that just pushed the background back a little bit, and that's going to make the focal image be a little bit brighter. Now I want to shade around the outside edge, and I thought, oh, I'm going to do this. I'll do the float technique because I've got some black paint, but my black paint was kind of dried up already. So I grabbed my woodless charcoal pencil, and I love this because when I'm in my art journal and I'm not worried about varnishing, shading is the quickest and easiest with this tool. You simply just put it where you want it and smudge it with your fingers or with a blending stump. You've seen me do that in other videos, and it just works so well. Now you do get it on your fingers, so you need to have a baby wipe at handy so you don't end up, getting it where you don't want the black marks to go. Now the lighting in this video isn't the best because it's really early in the morning and it's dark outside. But because I am busy preparing for craft fairs and stuff, I am just sneaking out some time here. Now I'm splattering it with white, again, just to push it back and lighten the background. And I just thin out the acrylic paint. And I'm loving the effect there. Now I was about to attach my focal image, and then I remembered I wanted to use this circle from this stencil butterfly collage. And I have this circle, and I'm going to frame the flamingo in it. Now I was going to stencil with just black paint, but I grabbed my black modeling paste from the Crafter's Workshop. This stuff is so good. It is so smooth and it goes on so well. And I'm applying it with a key card. Now my stencil moved a little bit there, so it kind of grunged up a bit, but that's kind of part of the design as well, so I wasn't too worried about it. It didn't matter. So here I'm just quickly going to take the gel medium and I'm putting the layers together on my flamingo. Just making sure all the layers are glued down. And I'm loving how that circle from that stencil fit. That was another thing that I've been dying to use that feature, that motif out of that stencil for something like this. So I'm just happy that I get to use it. So I'm playing with the sentiment, I'm cutting it apart, just deciding what looks good, what looks good. How am I going to put this? Now, the part of the sentiment that says born to stand out, it could stand alone. So I moved the Y blend in off to the side, and the bigger, bolder part, born to stand out, becomes kind of the main sentiment. And the black and bold of the letters go well with the modeling paste that I did with that half circle and the stamping I did with the black. Remember, when you have colors in one place, you want it to be in another place, and that just makes it all work out together. So I'm using my woodless charcoal pencil to do some shading around the sentiment. Just putting it on and smudging it. I didn't even bother getting out my blending tool. Then I decide I'm going to do the float technique. I want the wing to pop a little bit more and the flamingo to pop from the page. So I'm adding a little bit more black and I'm doing the shading. But it's really tricky and I have to stop and start because every time you want it to dry before you touch areas that meet. And there's not a whole lot of space in here, but I just persist. And I'm giving it a dry. And then I decide I'm going to add some highlights with white. Now I'm not studying, and I know some of the highlights don't make sense where I put them. Then I decide I'm going to grab my white gel pen, Sakura gel pen, and outline it. Now, since I did this, I probably could have just skipped using the shading acrylic with the white. I'm testing out the gel pen for the white, and I like the Uniball Signo better. It's more of an opaque white. It's brighter. But this is a close second. I've ordered another pen, and it's taking forever to come. And I believe that one is a permanent white, so stay tuned. But the white here does, even though it's not as bright as I would have liked, it does add to it. Check out the links in the description box below for the stencils and any special products that I've used in the creation of this page. Give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, watch and see all the close-ups of this finished page. And as always, come back next time. Bye.